G'day, ladies and gentlemen. How you going? Look, amazingly, the internet came back. This was supposed to be a bit of a sorry guys. Here I am with my phone. Things aren't working. It may drop out. I've attempted to sort of get a little backup plan happening this time, unlike in recent times. The internet has been constantly dropping out in and out the whole time. Like, it's been real bad. So I've been desperately trying to smash something together for you guys. It's gonna be a bit rough, but look, it is what it is. Um, there's a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to get to, but without being able to sort of get internet to the computer, it just made life hard, and I didn't really want to chew up all my mobile data because I might actually need that. So look, we're going to see how we go. I'm kind of going on a maybe 1 to 2 drink limit here. So that's as far as I'd like to really push this one. I'm just clearing out a bit of space here because I've got a whole collection of memesies. So there were, because it's been a bit slack on getting things done lately. I've collected a few memes and a few videos, which is gonna hopefully help us get out of the lack of getting shit done in a more recent delivery sort of thing. So bear with me for a second while I just import my bits and pieces and get that ready. We might start with a video while I'm doing that. Let's have a look. It's been a while since I looked at some of these things, so I'm going to bring them in and we're going to see what comes up, eh? Cook the goose, see if it's any good. Start with a couple of comments. G'day, Valerie, Kerry, Nettie, David, Doug, how are you? Good to see people. People smashed in really quick. Like, I honestly thought, I'd rush this through. It's like maybe half-hour notice, but you guys are onto it. Look at that. Look at them all coming in. Sips to you, mob, eh? Sunday sips. I will also let you know my cognitive abilities are somewhat impaired. Nowhere near as impaired as, say, a mainstream news reporter. I'm pretty sure I can still do some basic, understandings of reality as opposed to these conspiracy theorists. But look, the sleeping patterns are all over the place. The pain in the back is up and down all over the shop, and yeah, there's a few painkillers involved. So wash it down with a bit of rum, and it'll hopefully get me through the pain I'm feeling. But look, where was I? Video file. That's what I wanted. All right, so let's pull up one of these. This one I've titled "Elbow Lies." I mean, does he ever tell the truth? I'm going to be as surprised as you are today. Let's find out what it is.
People will have a choice between Labor, committed to addressing cost of living pressures while building Australia's future, or Peter Dutton, who will cost Australians more.
Wow, that's a good one, isn't it? He's just going to cost Australians more. That's it. And as usual, he's got nothing to really back that up on. And I mean, what a train wreck we've experienced under Elbow, which brings us into, the first round of memes. Yep, totally fucked under Albanese. I think we've seen it before. It just keeps popping up, These are the ones I've collected. These are all, from this year's posts that I've seen getting around. No idea. The man without an economic plan. There he is telling us how, Dutton's going to ruin the place. Look, I got about as much faith in Dutton as I do Elbow, actually. Maybe a bee's dick more. Surely nobody could be as bad as this cockhead. Elbow's insane Indian migrant agreement. This is a good one. No caps on 5-year student visas. No caps on 8-year temp working visas. No caps on 3-month visitor visas. Recognizing Indian degrees and work experiences comparable to Australia's. Well, I know the standards and things here in Australia are plummeting. I don't know, mate. Maybe the Indian stuff is better. I don't know. Like I would have to put it into to the test. But I must say, I can't say I've come across many Indian doctors whose I felt medical expertise was up to the standard. In fact, there was one Indian doctor who recently, well, not so recently, but in the last few years, went to see where he tried to steal the customers away from the good Australian doctor that we were going to see, and by Australian, I mean one that can speak friggin' English, and wasn't willing to just flick a pill at every friggin' problem. So, yeah, I don't know about this one. Yeah, I hear a lot of negative things about, some of the cabbie drivers and stuff from down south. Look, I love a good Indian feed, and I think some of the Indian people here in town, don't do half a bad job cooking up a feed for you. But yeah, do we need to import all of India? Do we need to import the whole world for that matter? I mean, this is just one of the many failings. I'm sure if we can get into looking into it further. But Albanese government faces 7.4 billion budget blowout over unbudgeted public servant wage increases. Wow, not to mention the excessive amount of public servants that he brings in. But of course, this leads to the value of our dollar. Fuck all. Yeah, this is the new Australian currency. They'll probably be making them out of rocks and bits of wood and stuff. Because metal's too expensive. We won't be able to afford that with the elbow economy. I mean, we shouldn't be laughing, but it's a bit hard. Like, I mean, you just go nuts. You just go nuts. But let's face it. Has Karen approved this? Is that why my internet keeps going out? I don't know. So I was in the midst of kind of putting these ones together. So I'm just going to sort of wing this one. It sort of started off as, the uni party sort of thing, and then I found a whole bunch of comments, to go along with it. I actually thought it's a pretty cool piece of art. I wonder if somebody actually knocked that up or if it was just like one of them, what do you call it? AI friggin' jobs, looks pretty nice though, eh? And I think it sums up the situation, like, I mean, it's not like, Peter Dutton's going to come out, and perform some friggin' miracles for, humanity, is he? He's just going to be more of the same cut from the cloth bullshit. And, when you dig in to find out just what a piece of shit ScoMo really was, wow. I don't think Dudden's going to be any better. I think the word dud is going to have to be really the big one to go along with him. But can he out dud Kevin Dudd? And how long will Kevin Dudd have his job? Seeing that within maybe about 24 hours or so, Trump will be taking the reins and hopefully guiding the world into a better place. So it's a lot of hope in there. We'll see if it comes to fruition. Just with the comments, I found it was pretty interesting to see just how happy everybody is with the Australian government. It's just astounding. It really is. Let me just grab it. Where's the rest of it? I was pulling it in from where? Where did I find it? No, that's right. I had it here. So I'm just going to pull the rest of these ones in individually, I think, because that'll make it a bit easier. Just because I didn't get a chance to sort of set them up the way I'd like to. So we go from about there, add those in. Yeah, the artwork does sum it up. Thanks, Kerry. I'm glad we're all on a grants. So, all right. Why did 4 not come in? What the hell? Even the computer's playing up, doing funny buggers on me at the moment. So, it's just astounding to see how many people really have just had a gutful, hey, and bullshit lie, we are paying more under Labor. So I think this was actually, a response to, if memory serves me correctly, that video that we started with. This is all the stuff that that people have responded to. And as you can see, the Australian people, I mean, you can go and have a look at these posts yourself, and you can see, like, anytime Elbow posts anything, it's just constant beratement. Oh, look at that, North Queensland Freedom Network had something to say. How could it get any worse than this horrific reign of poverty you have brought upon us? I think you should be banned from the internet as you incite violent feelings among Australians with your presence. Yeah, and I did misspell presence in the context, but I thought it was also appropriate because everything he does, he seems to think is some sort of a gift. He seems to think he's the greatest gift to the Australian people. In fact, Heath Elbow and Heath running the though. So I like this bit. Finally, some truth, but as usual, you left out the quiet part because Dutton is a WEF puppet too, and you're working together to destroy Australia. Look at that. So that's the general consensus of the Australian people, But what is Labor costing you? 10% plus in health, 11% education, 12% food, 17% in rents, 32% in electricity. Gotta love that cheaper, greener energy. Isn't it so good? Financial and insurance plus 15%, gas plus 36%. Wow, I'm so glad we found a way to be able to bottle that better and send it overseas so we can fuck our own people over just that little bit more. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate that work. Sorry, is this a parody account? Gotta love it. Labor government will lower the cost of living. How does this stack up? Inflation, higher taxes, higher power bills. It's, you could just say everybody's had a gutful. If Labor were able to fucking pull in 10% of the vote lately, I think that you can call this some rigging going on here. Like, is there anyone left stupid enough to support the Labor government? I mean, I'm still astounded. When we looked at the numbers, if they are true here in Townsville, that I think it stacked up about 75% of the population either voted Liberal or Labor. It's just like, wow, there's a lot of people here who still got some friggin' serious brain rot. Does our PM realize we are in a cost of living crisis because the cost of living has gone up under his Labor government? This guy, seriously, and then this is what I've seen quite a bit of getting around lately is that maybe Australia could become the 52nd state of the US. And, I don't know that is a fucking good idea. In fact, I think you'll find it's kind of, the Australian government, as we discussed a bit on Friday, is kind of the property of America anyway. I mean, it's not so much, because of what you find on the US stock exchange thing, and it's a registered company and all that sort of stuff. It's a little bit different than that. But, we are in a bit of trouble, and there are some theories getting around that American occupation might actually become a reality. And for those of you who want to know how that really works, you want to get into the usufruct scenario. And we dive into that a little bit in my video from way back. And you can go back and look for it. The Red Ensign video, I believe it was called, if memory serves me correct. And that we dive into the history of, when usufruct come in, so we're basically being used to pay off audits. Why we're just getting ripped off left, right, and center, and our governments are just so useless that the entire nation's basically telling him to piss off, dopey. It's insane. Resign, communist bullshit. Like, just look at it all. It just doesn't. It got to a point where I'm like, all right, cool. I've taken 10 screenshots. That's got to be enough. Surely that's enough of the world hating on Elbow. So let's lighten the load a little bit. Now, did you see what I see when you read that? Because if you did, there's a good chance that's the reason you're here. Because I seen it too. It took me a while to figure out what it's really supposed to say. It's supposed to be an album cover. All right. Stop thinking. Get your minds out of the gutter. All right. Don't be like that. So anyway, Australia Day's coming up. One Nation's encouraging people to celebrate. And of course we should. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we be proud of our country? It's just another one of their Marxist attitudes to try and destroy our love for the country. We're not going to let that happen, are we, ladies and gentlemen? You're going to raise the middle finger and tell this mob go get stuffed, wave your Aussie flag, wear it as a cape, paint your face, all that sort of shit. Get into it. keep the humour high. What else can you do? Because those flying shit machines are out and they're getting more and more talented. Have a look at the crazy art they're getting out with these days. They're becoming graffiti artists. Like, seriously, this is an epidemic here. We've got to worry about this. Like, who's training birds to do this? Bad enough they shit all over the place. I like that, Lisa. Nice. It's amazing how many people still are just so indoctrinated into the Labor system. So yeah, for all the locals in Townsville, you'll be stoked to see that we made Australia's page. For the Cleveland Cleveland Detention Center. Did I say holiday? I mean, look, swimming pools, and they got TVs and video game consoles and all that. And it's wonderfully done. Check out Townsville's greatest holiday destination, 260 beds, meaning heaps of space, and with $9 million upgrades, we can fit about 12 more people. So many activities with a pool, free meals 5 times a day, and ample room to riot on the roof. You will never want to leave. Our menus are always dietitian approved to ensure we serve the most nutritious meals. With educational facilities on site, you won't be bored. We have art, music, dance, sport, and even cultural days. How could you say no? Price is simple. Drop into your nearest hardworking family between the hours of 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. Very politely take their car and off you go. That gives you a free week long admission to Cleveland Youth Detention Center. Credit to Shay Gregory. So, yeah, it's a pretty sad state of affairs. Let's see if the Liberal Party will get tough on crime like they reckon. At the end of the day, we've got a system in place that jumps in there and helps these kids, tell them exactly what they need to say to get out. And it is literally a weak state in a lot of cases. Like these people, it's a revolving door. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. So we might have to drop the comment down to get the final bit there. Thank you. You're a crazy conspiracy theorist, says the dying man waiting for help. Then why is everything that I said would happen happening? And of course, it's the hammer of Thor, these mythical concepts, such as Thor's hammer Mjolnir, saving you from a heart attack. So just remember that when all those leftists out there. I know the lefties love watching this. Townsville Bulletins and the rest of the Courier Mail seem to be taking inspiration from what the work we're doing here, particularly on fluoride. They're really ramping up their shit, but we'll look at that a little bit later. FDA responds to study on DNA contamination in Pfizer vaccine. The regulatory states of the study does not belong to the FDA, despite it being conducted at FDA labs and FDA resources by students under the supervision of FDA staff. Oh. So who the fuck does it belong to then? I don't know. Got me stuffed. Any ideas? Mystery. Absolute mystery. Oh, I'm glad you needed a laugh, because here's another thing to laugh at. What a terrible polluting environment. And, that's generally how we live out in, the rural areas, us horrible people in the rural areas, that's it. We'd much rather see everything bulldozed, turned into solar panels and wind farms, isn't that what you want to see? They look so much better than, nature and, cows and sheep getting ready for my, go on my plate. How else? We need hamburgers. Come on. You don't seriously think we grow this shit in a lab, do you? Actually, these fucking idiots think they do. Shit. I think we're in trouble. So, yeah, speaking of, so this is the lengths they're going to these days. Council urged to listen to science over activism on health. Premier, all for fluoride, he says. Wow. Well, let's see what happens. Eh? So, after we've just heard a bit of regurgitated bullshit from the Courier Mail, it's important to remember, how to reinterpret these values, particularly the ABC, which is very relevant to most of the Western society, I believe. They always seem to have a always broadcasting crap network everywhere. It doesn't, it's not just exclusively here in Australia, So on to our, Epstein Island visitors, with the tragic fires going through rich people's homes. You got to wonder how many bodies they might find. I reckon, for those of you who watch the Marvel movies and whatnot, and you get, you go through and get the tenders and all that sort of stuff. I think it was in Spider-Man, and they had themselves all sorted up to clean up the wreckage, and then all of a sudden, the special forces mob come in, the Tony Stark mob, to clean up the technology so that these things stay in the right people's hands. You got to wonder who will be cleaning up some of these homes, like, are they just going to get any old Joe Blow, or are they going to be, like the kind of people who worked on Epstein Island, for example, got to wonder. So good old Mr. Rennick is doing some good stuff. Let me just move this around. He's looking out for us with the GMO Mozzie stuff. He's written in. We had a bit of a yarn with Wayno the other day. Not everybody got that, I can imagine. I only streamed it to Facebook and Rumble on my channel. Sorry, guys, I could only add 2 of mine in, as I was not the host. So for all you BitChute YouTubers and otherwise people out there who missed, and X's, who unfortunately missed that one, you just either check out Cafe Lockdown's channels or the What the Fuck Boys channels, or just come and have a look at what we did on Facebook and Rumble, because I chose those because that's where the big audiences are at the moment. So that's why I had to. I played it by the numbers, ladies and gentlemen. It's played by the numbers. So yeah, we dived into a little bit there, and we actually shown that letter that Senator Jared Rennick had going. I might. Do I still have it handy? No, not happening quickly. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Don't want to waste any more time. Keep this flowing, So where was I? So moving on to some more of Rennick's work, he's also, this is obviously, a little bit old, it's January 7th, but, last year he released a set of policies designed to hold the establishment to account, improving whistleblower protections for public servants who want to report corrupt behavior so they aren't punished. I think that's something that's very important, we get that happening. I reckon we probably shut down just about every council in this country because they all seem to be corrupt beyond belief. It's amazing how many people are contacting me about their councils at the moment. It's nuts. We had Gary on Friday all the way from Geelong. I've been contacted from people in Cooktown who are going to be coming on at some stage in the future. We've talked about the Whitsunday Council. We've talked about the Cairns councils. We're talking about Townsville Council, probably one of the worst in the freaking country because, hey, what, you voted for a mayor we didn't like? That's not happening. This guy's going on holidays. So some whistleblower protection would be good. Hey, look, I'll help out as best I can, but it seems like my house has been staked out by police drones and hidden networks. And I even come across a couple that look like cameras as well, as I've been watching what Wi-Fi signals are available. So anyway, that's something we'll be dealing with in future. Introduce an independent judicial commission for corrupt judges and barristers. Now, that'd be a good one. That could sort out a lot of problems, I reckon. Reintroduce cross-media ownership laws to break up the power of mainstream media companies. As we see, particularly in rural regions, all the newspapers are Murdoch media. They're all the same. They're telling the same bullshit stories. It's friggin' insane, and they're all campaigning together to try and get this fluoride message going, selling the poison like they always do. Reduce immigration to less than 100,000 people per year for work visas only. Sounds good to me. Abolish the national curriculum. Wow. Let's just worry about maths and English. You can figure everything else out you need from there. Abolish net zero and instead focus on practical measures to protect our economy. Seems pretty bloody obvious to me. Good place to start. Abolish native title where there is no conscious association with the land and where there is no overlapping interests. Convert native title to freehold. You might talk to my Indigenous friends for further comment on that one. We might get some, maybe Blackboard could come back on at some point, maybe once some of the heat dies down. So anyway, we need some work here with obviously some finances. There's a lot of money going to CEOs and they all seem to be on sort of government paid sort of scenarios here. There's a lot of friggin' money going into these people, not just our CEOs and councils, but the CEOs for the Australia Post, the NBN. Now, NBN cannot bloody deliver a service right now, yet this friggin' cockknocker is getting 2.85 million to not deliver. How's about we funnel some of that money out of this dickhead's pocket into the infrastructure so that the friggin' thing works? Crying out loud. I mean, come on. That's how it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's how it is. 2.85 million, well spent. I must say I'm impressed. The internet hasn't dropped out yet, and I've been running for about half an hour. This is astounding. The Snowy Hydro, well, there's the one. We've looked into the Snowy Hydro before. Oh, they got a CEO and a COO. Coo. I bet she probably just sits in the corner going coo for 1.77 million. Fucking bloody insane. Western Sydney Airport, 1.7. Another Snowy Hydro, a CEO retail. So they got a CEO just for retail, 1.69. What are they selling other than bullshit? That's right. They're selling us how cloud seeding works, but then once people started coining on to the fact they had it all over their website, they shut it down. Funny that. Commonwealth superannuation. Cool, 1.63. Oh, look, more Snowy Hydro. A chief commercial officer, 1.5 million. Geez, this is starting to add up. Fuck me. Let's break out the calculator, shall we? Because I'm just not quite cognitively up there enough today to sort this out. So our first CEO, 2.3 plus the cooey, 1.77 plus another. Oh no, that's the Western Sydney. There's a 1.69 for a CEO retail plus another 1.55. Wow. Is there any more? Oh, I think there's another Snowy Hydro down the bottom here. CFO, Snowy Hydro, Kim Sling, a 1.14 for them too. They pop up anymore? My God. This is insane. So far, 7.3 million. 7.3 million for the Snowy Hydro project amongst 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. My Lord. It's insane. It's insane. We got more for the NBN. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 for the NBN there. If I'm adding that up correctly, Jeez. I know how to spend money. I've got old future funds. Oh yeah. Well, there won't be any bloody future because all the money's being siphoned out by the CEOs. Foreign affairs and trade. You know what? I reckon these people probably do 2/5 of fuck all. And we're paying him a shitload of money to play golf. Bloody madness. Thank you for bringing that to our attention, Jared Rennick. But look, just in case you felt stupid because you were continuously allowing society to fall into decay, just remember that Red Riding Hood couldn't figure out that a talking wolf wasn't her grandmother. I don't know, maybe eyeglasses hadn't really been invented. Maybe there was a poverty thing going. She couldn't afford the eyeglasses. I don't know. How she wasn't walking into trees on the way, it's got me fucked. But, well, it is what it is. So Troy's been ripping into councillors. I thought I had to bring this one in because Division 6 is, relevant to myself. And I got a good laugh out of it because no sooner had he done this, they had 3 people come out and spend a whole 5 minutes straightening a pole out in the street the other day. Don't worry, the gutters are still fucked. You know, I don't think anything's been clear. Let's hope we don't get anything too excessive in the rain. You know, since there's a collapsed bunch of concrete that was right near that pole they straightened up. You know, and it'd probably tip and fall over like it has the last 5 times they straightened it up, because all they did was come along, push it up, straighten it up, hammer it in a little bit, and then kept going. I'm like, you guys have done that how many times now? I think you might want to think about how you're doing fixing that street pole up just a little bit more. So just like to thank Susie and all the wonderful workers out there who are following orders and doing their job inadequately. It's good to know money's well spent, you know. Very good. So, look, you know, anyone out there says they hate a liar, I'll try being the one who's telling the truth. Look, you know, I must say I haven't had too much flack for it. I seem to be getting a bit of a pat in the back. So, you know, I guess it depends on who you're trying to tell the truth to. You know, it's important to pick your audience, you know. It's no point sitting there around the family dinner when you're realizing you're the only one with a brain cell, at least a couple of brain cells, you know, to rub together to spark a couple of thoughts, you know, while the others just regurgitate the same shit they've seen on TV like they do year after year. You're probably wasting your time there. But, you know, I if you're anything like me, you just lose your mind after a few hours of listening to utter shit, and you just snap and tell them, what the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously. Anyway, so I think it's important that all us carnivores out there eat as much meat as possible, because, you know, those vegans are letting those poor animals die for nothing. You know, like I can't imagine anything worse than throwing out the meat. Like the vegetables, that's okay. I can put that in the compost. It's all right. It'll go back into Mother Nature. She's right. But that meat, you got to finish your meat. That's the most important part. Not to mention it's fucking expensive shit, you know. And look, you know, I don't want to bag out vegan food too much because it's not too bad once you add a bit of meat and cheese to it, eh? But in other news, while the wokeverse are pushing things in this general direction, I hear that Elon Musk, Mel Gibson, and the third one just bloody gone straight out the window. I can hear screaming outside, but that's not helping me. Elon Musk, non-woke. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. How could I forget? Good old Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. You know, getting together their non-woke film company. That'll be interesting to see. Surely is so that's at least what they're saying. So apparently there's a lot of social media posts claiming that it's happening, a non-woke film production. I'm just having a quick look here. Posts on Facebook and Instagram shared screenshots, article headlining breaking Mel Gibson and Mark Wahlberg join hands to create non-woke film production. Actually, I should just bring this up for you, Mob, to see. Share screen. Let's bring that down. So apparently the fact checkers reckon that it's satire. Mel Gibson publicist said it's not true. The actor started a non-woke production studio with Mark Wahlberg. The claim emerged from a satirical blog. There you go. So that's how that one's worked out. Apparently it was bullshit. You know, I didn't get a chance to check it. I was just going on, and that's why I thought, oh, but just as well memories. So, you know, there it is. Be funny if they did, though. Bugger off. Not that you can trust Snoops, because, I mean, like, it's really pretty shit side anyway. But, you know, seems to be a few of them getting in there. Aren't starting. It's just like, you know, one after the other, one after the other. Be good if there were, though, wouldn't it? Like, so surely somebody's got the intelligence to go, let's do a non-woke Hollywood, you know? That'd be great. Still a lot of people saying it is happening. But, hey, maybe they'll see how popular the idea is and go, fuck it, we should do that. That's a we're on to a winner there. Let's get it cracking. Straight if I had the money, I bloody well would. That's for sure. So anyway, she should probably represent that. So after we were talking about all the GMO shit the other day, and what was the date of that one? We did the podcast on the 14th, right? About how GMO mozzies are going to be bad. Because of course, what else would they be? Like, seriously, how could it be a good thing? You really, it does my head in. It really does. Some the things that go through people's heads. It's just wow. Yeah, it's a level of complacency required that's beyond measure. But 2 days later, astoundingly, the Townsville Hospital has advised that 2 Townsville residents have tested positive for rare mosquito-borne diseases, including the first case of locally acquired dengue virus in 5 years. Because we were saying, who's getting this dengue fever? So suddenly it happened. You got to wonder, was it intentionally released? Like, it does my head in. It does my head in, And of course, Townsville Bulletin were all over it, Japanese encephalitis virus and dengue fever found in Townsville, more fear porn, because we need them GMO mozzies. What do they actually mention? We need GMO money. We will go to work also to kill mosquitoes with their permission that would involve exterior spraying and interior spraying. Rightio. I'm not saying anything about we should get some right, rule it out though. Let's quickly skim. Yeah. Oh, they love getting the big pictures of poor people getting eaten by mozzies. Like I've never seen a mozzie bite before in my life. I live in Queensland. Yeah. Tell you what, I got really smashed in that in Darwin. I tell you. Maybe they're just selling the fear. So yeah, definitely, people don't breed the bloody things. Don't let those quantities of water build up. Doesn't look like they were trying to push the GMO mozzies though, but it's all right. Give it a week. They like to do these things. Now here's one Mark sent me the other day. He told me on the phone, I'm going to bed. I'm knackered, and then 2 minutes later, he calls me back. You've got to see this. I'm like, you're going to bed, man. Anyway, here it is. So this is caught by a security camera at 3 a.m. in Los Angeles. What the hell is that? See it again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure it's just swamp gas or something like that. Nothing to see here, people. But yeah, that's some pretty funky shit, eh? And for those of you who checked out, one of the things that Tesla was proposing just before he died, you got to wonder. You've got to wonder. So another one somebody showed me the other day, and it's kind of hard to confirm. I have to get down to the dam to have a look at myself, but it looks like they might be putting some test ideas for floating solar panels here in Townsville. Did a bit of digging the other day, and the idea was pitched back in December 15th, 2016, whilst in the middle of the drought that was, banned for about 10 years here in Townsville. And they've proposed that it's a wonderful idea because it stops friggin' evaporation, and it's really good for generating power, and the water underneath keeps the bloody things cool. But they want to put that on our dam. on the Ross River Dam. That's our fucking drinking water. Now, I'm not sure how toxic some of the things involved in solar panels are, but are we really willing to risk it? How do you get to the one in the middle when it drops out and you need to service it is the next question. Like, you just look at that and you go, what the fuck? Now, this is a floating solar farm in Japan, So I looked it up a little bit, and our good old friends at the World Economic Forum, well, they're all for it. So shit, we should trust it, eh? Fuck me. How Japan became the world leader in floating solar power. Wow. So how do you increase your solar energy output when you need all your land for agriculture and for housing? Answer, take to the water. That's just what they're doing in Japan. The world's first floating solar plant was built in Japan in Aichi Prefecture. I think I said that right. In central Honshu, the country's many inland lakes and reservoirs are now home to 73 of the world's 100 largest floating solar plants, and account for half of those plants, 246 megawatts of solar capacity. It's friggin' nuts. Like, look at that. Now, I'm sorry, but when I go out to a lake and a river, I don't want to see that. And look at all these cables and shit. Like, fucking hell. Like, what the logistical nightmare of this, it does my head in. And like I said, the one right here in the middle, she's up the duff. We better go in there and fix that, ladies and gentlemen. How the hell are you going to get in there? What? It's madness. Utter madness, And not to mention, like, how's the sunlight going to get into the things that live in there? Like that. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there's plant life and animal life and all these other things in there that kind of need sunlight as well. And you just want to put this technological monstrosity right over the top of it because you think you're saving the fucking planet. I mean, just remember, in 20 to 30 years, that's all going to be in landfill. Genius. Friggin' genius. It does my head in. Really does. So there's a whole bunch of other shit I want to bring into. I'll look into a few bits and pieces. So you know what? Let's I'll deal with that in a minute. We might come back to it. So apparently you can grow your own genetically modified mosquito colony. Just add water. Shit, it's like fucking bloody, what do you call them? Sea monkeys. Woohoo! The new pet for children. They're going to be selling them on the back of comic books. Look out. GMO modified mosquito colony. Just add water. Fucking hell. The weekly shop in Brazil is a little different these days and may soon change in other parts of the world plagued by dengue fever. So really putting in a good sell, And this is back in December 2024, just, But in addition to the usual staples, bread, fruit, meat, and vegetable, Brazilians can now add dried mosquito eggs to their shopping trolley. They're actually encouraging people to buy it too. Like, is that where we're going? Like, you're not going to just supply it, and hope people are stupid enough to want to do it. I mean, we just read an article about how you shouldn't be breeding them in the backyard, but hey, it's all right. Bring your own ones home from the fucking supermarket. What the fuck? Oh, Jesus. The UK biotech company that has genetically modified the insects in question, Brazilians who buy the eggs are releasing a relatively small number of mutant mosquitoes. It's okay. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles worked out pretty well, except for all the bad guy ones, like Baxter Stockman, the Fly. It's kind of like a mozzie, they fly and it's an insect. I guess that's where the similarities end. But anyway, and there was that whole Bebop and Rocksteady fiasco, and then there was the Toads, and mutants aren't always good, and generally a mutation only works if it's effective and good for people, and you look at it, if we're going to go down the theory of Darwinism, and I'd like to emphasize the theory, that mutations happen and they last if they're good. Here we have mankind coming in, making it happen. All right. Maybe you should just let nature do its thing, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Works like this. The eggs bought at the supermarket. Yep, so bought. You got to buy your own friggin' eggs. Contain mutant males which pass on a gene that prevents the females they mate with from producing viable female larvae. Without new females, the local mosquito population quickly collapses. You know, kind of like, you know, China and its one birth, one child policy. You know, I'm seeing a similar thing going on here. They obviously couldn't introduce communism to the insect world, even though the insect mind and the hive mentality of an insect and communism do have a lot in common. Clearly, not procreating is not one of them. Anyway, people think I'm kind of neurotic, but at least I avoid getting ill, she says. You fucking neurotic. Oh my God, it's nuts. Like, anyway, I think I've done with that one. You can have a look at that one yourself if you want. It's pretty easy to find. Just type in grow your own genetically modified mosquito colony from the Telegraph and go nuts, ladies and gentlemen. Fucking hilarious. Council to reopen community debate about Cooktown water fluoridation. So as you can see, all these dangerous conspiracy theorists, you know, here just, you know, getting it all wrong. A group opposed to the dousing of Cooktown's water supply with fluoride has welcomed the decision by the council to reopen community debate about whether the practice should continue. But we will talk a little bit more about this, you know, as the story unfolds, because our friends here at Cooktown have contacted us, and they'll be getting onto it a little bit further. So there is a lot more to this one, and I think we'll cover it at a later point, but it's important to see that, you know, fluoride crisis in Queensland, another regional council considers capitulating to the noisy minority. It's okay to have a noisy minority when there are a bunch of left-hearted greeny fuckwits or lunatics who run around cutting children's penises off and giving them puberty blockers and shit. That kind of noisy minority, that's okay. But people who are just like, hey, look, if you want fluoride, why don't you go buy it and drink it yourself? How's about those of us who don't want it, don't have it? Is that too much to ask? Apparently, that's bad, you know, not appropriate thought, inappropriate thinking. Thought police, quick, out come the Courier Mail, and like a bunch of genetically modified toothless chihuahuas, they're coming out with some shit articles here to tell us how bad these people are. It's astounding. One of the few remaining regional councils to offer residents fluoridated water. What fucking offer, you retarded moron? And which Jill Paulson, you're a fucking idiot. Where's the offer? It's not an offer. It's being forced upon you, you fucking moron. Is considering turning off the tap, but its mayor says most of the opposition to the tooth-saving mineral, my ass, is from people not even connected to the town water supply. Like, what? That's bullshit, according to my sources. Cook Shire Council, which encompasses the most northern tip of the state, is canvassing its ratepayers about the possibility of discontinuing its fluoridation program following a motion by one of its councillors in December to reopen the debate. Council minutes show 3 people attended in October meeting to outline their concerns around fluoride. Mayor Robin Holmes said Cooktown was the only town in the Shire that had fluoride added to its town supply, and some other towns, such as Cowan, had sufficient levels of naturally occurring fluoride. It's really difficult for council to make these decisions because we're not qualified health experts. That's a fucking wow. They actually said something intelligent. They're not qualified health experts. So what the fuck are they doing playing with our health? We actually have to seek their advice. And I believe that the decision should rest with the Queensland government. So what you're saying is You're not a qualified health expert. Let the government, who are also not qualified health experts, tell us how to deal with our health issues. You've got to be shitting me. And the state Ministry of Health. So let's translate this to, please, us councils are not qualified to deal with this. We're getting hammered, and we can't win this war. Can we, state government, help? Which coming back to this frame we had earlier. Maybe let me sift through. Nah, not that one. This one. Premier all for fluoride. So you can see they're setting things in motion. They're going to try, I believe, then the next move will be the state government to retake control of the fluoride issue and force it onto the entire fucking state. But that should be a very interesting one, given the way I've gone about this situation is a little bit different to this, it's not good for me thing. It's can you actually prove that you can administer this properly? Like I've said before, if that was heroin in the water supply, how much would you drink? How much would you drink? It's fear. It's just the utter ridiculousness of the shit that these people write. It's safe to say that the majority of people who are against it are not on the town water supply. Is it? It's safe to say. Can you please provide proof? Most of them, these are the same kind of people who probably turn around saying safe and effective, even to this day. Like, you'd have to be mad. But anyway, most of them are from our most of them are from our. Yeah, I did read. Most of them are from out of town, like in other townships, or they live on farms around the Cook Shire and have bore water or tank water. Really, that's a bold assumption, But what if they come into town and they'd like to use the water? I mean, in a rural region, that's generally how things operate. You come into town to get things. So anyway, Councillor Holmes said councillors voted against a professionally run community engagement process and instead decided to do their own. I feel as though to conduct a thorough community consultation and try and gain input from all community, especially those who are connected to the Cooktown water supply, is challenging, but needs to be done properly. I mean, I want to know how you can forcibly medicate people by the majority. That this is the one that really does my head in. Sorry, we should be on this thing here. It voids all logic. It really does. It's kind of like, are we going to take community consultation on forced anal sex? Is that where, like, at what point do we draw the line here where, well, it's the majority think it's okay? Like, come on. Courier Mail and its sister publications across Queensland launched a State Decay series. Let's have a look. It's going to be good for a laugh, So there's their State Decay series. Look at all the fear porn. If you don't get your fluoride, your teeth will fall out. Oh, don't you hate the dentist? It's fucking hilarious. This is a state of amusement. Absolutely ridiculous. My God. Minister's concession as kids languish in agony on dental waiting list. Fuck off. My children have never had fluoridated water. We've never used fluoridated toothpaste. Not one fucking tooth problem. So suck a dick on that one. My God. I was forced to consume fluoridated water. Fluoride toothpaste as a child, went to the dentist, and that bastard seemed to find a fucking hole every 6 months. I think he was a con artist myself, but hey, look, If fluoride was that fucking good, why was this prick drilling into me every 6 fucking months? Fuck off, you wankers. You know, some more Cookshire at Cooktown oblivious fluoride poisoning it put into drinking water. You know, we can see where we're going now because we're in the Cairns news. We're getting into a little bit of reality now. You know, you'll never guess what killed $3 million worth of horses. Well, if you pay attention to things that are put into drinking water, you may also be able to guess what killed the Justice horses. Wayne and Kathy Justice have been raising quarter horses on their farm for quite some time without trouble. But come 1985, water fluoridation was introduced. Just 2 years after water fluoridation began, Wayne and Kathy began to notice strange things happening to their horses. At the time, what was wrong with the horses was a complete mystery. But in 2003, something in the horses' behavior tipped them off. During the winter of 2003-2004, the Justices got a lot of snow. They kept a 100-gallon tank of city's fluoridated water outside for the horses to drink from. But once the snow came in, the horses virtually shunned the bucket of water. The bucket that was usually refilled every 24 to 36 hours was staying full for a week at a time while the horses ate snow to get their water. So even the horses realized this shit is not good for you, it would seem. You know, it's the same as like trying to feed your dog fucking that chicken loaf shit they fucking serve up at the supermarket. You know, dogs look at you like, I think I'd rather lick my ass than eat this shit. Sips to that. So there's a good one from the Courier Mail you can get stuck into as well. Oh, sorry, Courier Mail. Sorry to insult the Cairns News mob with that. So you can look in for that article. Just a quick little Google search away, and Bob Giorani. So I'm going to make sure I save these ones for later too. So, all right, cool. That kind of concludes where I was at with that. Let's chuck in some of these videos because amazingly, my internet's still fucking working. This is absolutely astounding. This is the most functional it's been. Like, I've been up since midnight just because of the fuck sleeping patterns and the way shit is at the moment. Excuse me. So yeah, this is kind of like, my Sunday night at this particular point. But yeah, all night it was on, it was off, it was on, it was off. I ended up doing some tracking, which is good. I strung up the old 4-string bass here and started putting some bass lines down. Got some vocal tracks down the other day at Manifesto Studios. Thanks to my good friend Mark for helping us out there. So stuff is coming along, ladies and gentlemen. It's just it's a process, and I'm being a one-man band here. So, I've got to think about things in a different way, but it's good fun. And I think you guys, well, some of you will like it. Some of it's a bit heavy, I had a groovy version of one song, and it turns out that it was easier to do the heavy version because that's just what I'm used to. So I kind of rework the groovy version of it's the same song as two versions. I'm doing the version that I originally wrote 30 fucking years ago, and then there's the I'll groove it up and give it a bit more of a funk and see if it's a little bit more palatable version that I think is going to need a little bit more work because I can't what am I doing? It's not what I wanted to do at all. Yeah, brain fried. Might do a couple of videos and call it a day, ladies and gentlemen, because like I said, just not functioning all that well. So I think we played this on Tuesday with the What the Fuck Boys. I think we might have referenced it, but here we go.
Donald Trump has promised all hell will break out in the Middle East if Hamas does not return Israeli hostages by the time he is in office.
If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. Can you elaborate? And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. There should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that.
He has held a wide-ranging press conference at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida ahead of his inauguration. David Blemons has the details.
It was fairly forceful in terms of his response to the questions. He called this press conference, it seemed, to announce what he called this golden era for business and common sense States, but as usual veered way off the script to talk about other things on the Middle East. The language was very strong. If the hostages are not returned, he said, by the time he assumes office, which is just 2 weeks away now, all hell will break
24
loose,
hours
quote,
now.
unquote. In terms of the Panama Canal and in Greenland, he, as you've pointed out, refused to rule out the use of military or economic coercion. And I suppose the timing of those remarks was unfortunate, to say the least. He was highly critical of former President Carter's deal on the Panama Canal and made those remarks as the remains of the 39th President of the United States were making their final journey from his home in Atlanta, Georgia, to Washington, D.C.
I can't listen to that guy. It hurts. It really hurts listening to him. But yeah, well, I don't know about you. I haven't heard shit about them hostages coming back. So looks like it's going to be on for young and old in them next week. So let's see how that all turns out. What's this one? It's interesting.
Of those, we call it the top 100 puppet masters on the FD client list.
Do you think there's some overlap?
Strong overlap. Strong overlap.
When are we going to see that list, do you think?
I don't know. It's mind-blowing that they've not tried to prosecute even one. Not even the worst offender on the Epstein client list. They've not even tried to prosecute even one. That's insane.
Will that ever come out, do you think?
You know, I think part of why Kamala is getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
So just another reason to look forward to things in coming days. We'll see what happens. What's this one? Fake book fact checker. That looks interesting.
I want to talk about something important today.
Oh, that's right. That was good old Zuckerberg. We already talked about that, I think, one. So obviously we've all heard that Zuckerberg friggin' reckons he's going to go and open up the world, but Children's Health Defense took him to court 24 hours before he made that announcement. So let's have a look at that for those who missed it on the Tuesday night thing. Zuckerberg, it ain't over. Less than 24 hours after Children's Health Defense asked Supreme Court to hear a censorship lawsuit against Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg announced Facebook will end its fact-checking program. Now, I'd also like to mention that Facebook took down my Insight to Israel video without even saying a word. It was only because I was going back looking at some statistic analysis. I'm going, hang on. Where did that video go? They disappeared it and didn't even say anything. Didn't say anything about breaking community standards or anything like that. It just disappeared. They disappeared it. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. At Fake Book, thank you for telling us all about how you're going to do all this shit. But look, at the end of the day, we know the only thing Zuckerberg cares about is making a buck. Because he does not give a fuck. I think I might have to make some lyrics of that. Somebody take notes of that. These people, I tell you, what are we going to do with them? What are we going to do with them? Can we forgive them? Is there a possibility of forgiveness, or is it burning them at the stake time? There's as much wood as possible for the greenie types. Anybody who promoted the climate change, they should be burned at the stake with a shitload of wood. And let them soak in all that carbon. Sorry, it's a bad joke. Sorry, we shouldn't be joking about that sort of thing. It's a horrible thing to say. I'm only joking. It is only a joke. It's completely satirical. Under no circumstances do I think that should happen. Facebook fact check that.
Virus, watch the millions die. Biggest profit of their lives. Here's inflation, that's your prize. This is Carmageddon.
I think we'll leave it there so we don't break any further copyright rules. But yeah, this young lady refused to take her changed those lines and lost a record contract, from what I hear. So good on her for making some Pop-Tart music with some intelligence in it. Stranger things have happened.
We'll have a choice.
No, it's supposed to be getting rid of you. Remove from studio. Remove from studio. Remove from studio. Remove from studio. Needs some space. Can't work here with all the shit. All right. So yeah, that was an interesting one. Personally, it's so not my kind of music. I couldn't really listen to it. But actually, there is an article on it. I copy that. Does this work? Man, my brain's fried today. Nope. What about if I do it like this? There's no open with. I have to do it like that. Oh, that's all it is. No, that's all right. It wasn't worth the effort anyway. Aren't you glad I wasted that much time? All right. Next. A couple more here. So, Rennick on mRNA long-lasting. I think it's a good one.
On Professor Langdon's comment about spike protein, I note I've got a study here whereby it said that the synthetic the use of the synthetic nucleotide methylpseudouridine produced up to 10 to 100 times more spike protein than the natural uridine nucleotide. Given that these spike proteins are often chopped up as peptides and put on the cell membrane and then presented out to the immune system, wouldn't the corresponding autoimmune response from the T cells damage body organs or have the potential to damage body organs?
Thank you for the question, Senator Rennick. The purpose of providing antigen is to generate a response specific to that antigen and not to self, so not to the body itself. The spike proteins that are generated and produced are rapidly degraded.
You say they're rapidly degraded, but the poly-A tail was increased from 30 adenine nucleotides to over 100, which increased its duration. And there's evidence, there's been studies that showed that the spike protein still remains in the body for up to 60 days later. So how can you say that it rapidly degrades?
Senator, I'm not aware of the specific research paper that you are quoting, but I do know of the studies that have demonstrated detection of parts of a spike protein that are in the body are often done in very small populations where the process can't be validated, or alternatively are done in patients with other medical conditions.
Okay, thank you.
mRNA, it's not on the protein.
That's right, so it'll produce, the mRNA will last longer, that will produce spike proteins for longer. So if the mRNA survives a couple of days or 3 or 4 days, that's longer than breaking down. So, and those lipids last longer as well.
So as Professor Langham said, the purpose of having the protein there is to generate the immune response.
Yeah.
So you get a stronger immune response if you have more protein there.
Yeah, but we've also been told in this committee that myocarditis.
So yeah, I'm sure everybody was really stoked that that stuff lasting longer to improve your immune system, because everybody's sick as a dog and their immune system sucks. I'm sure really, really appreciated it. What else have we got here? So I think we got a couple more from Rennick, and we're pretty much out, ladies and gentlemen. So this is him on his whistleblowers, as he was talking about earlier in our podcast. So those of you who missed the beginning, well, you get to see the ending part.
Thank you, Acting Madam Deputy President. And I rise tonight to talk about People's First holding the establishment to account policies. And there's what I would like to call a motorboat of policies that I'm about to discuss tonight, and I'll compare and contrast that with the major parties who have a raft of policies. Thanks, Rob Stitch. But of course, often a raft is something that just floats in the water with a little bamboo pole, and you're going around in circles at a very slow rate. And that's one of the great things now that I'm an independent, is I can get out there and talk about the policies that matter to the Australian people without being shackled down with all the palaver that goes on inside the major parties. But the first policy that I want to do that is going to hold introduced that will hold the establishment to account is to improve whistleblower protections. If there's one thing that we really need to uphold in this place is the brave and courageous public servants and bureaucrats who can see that there's something wrong inside their department and they want to speak up. And I have spoken to a number of whistleblowers throughout my time in Parliament. One in particular was in regards to the Leppington Triangle, where he himself was strip searched by the federal police in his own house. He had his computer files and everything raided, all over the bogus claim that the Leppington Triangle was purchased for more than it should have been. And of course that was completely ridiculous because if anyone knows anything about the land valuations, 30 acres of land was not worth $3 million. That means 1 acre is worth $100,000. 1 acre is 4,000 square metres. So basically you're saying 8 500 square metre blocks or a 500 square metre block in Sydney would have been worth $12,500. I don't think so. But there's been other cases of whistleblowers coming to me, in particular from the TGA, also APRA. You know, throughout the COVID period, people were very afraid to speak up. I've had people come to me from Home Affairs. Indeed, I had one very brave whistleblower that came to me from Home Affairs with all the posts that Home Affairs had basically
advised Facebook take down, I assume, is where that one was going. It's a shame he decided to cut that where he did, but, you know, that's just the way it is, I guess. But here's one of the more important ones I've seen recently. That's the wrong button. Yeah, it's definitely time to call it quits, ladies and gentlemen. My brain has ceased to function. So, enjoy our last video.
Thanks, Chair. Hi, guys. How are you going?
Well, thanks. Well, thank you.
Look, on the 17th of February this year, the Saturday reported that 2 of the most senior executives at the Bureau have been castigated for giving evidence to a federal court judge that was false. Was that report true?
Senator, I did give some answers to a similar question from Senator Dillingham earlier, and just to repeat, if I may, that the Bureau strongly disputes, disagrees with the comments made, many of the comments made in the judgment that you refer to, about a number of current and former Bureau staff, on at least 4 grounds. A number of the judge's comments had no evidentiary basis. It's our view, the Commonwealth's view, that the judge in his comments demonstrated ostensible bias, lack of procedural fairness and a number of other errors.
Oh, wow. Isn't that interesting? Oh, it didn't go in our favour, so it's the judge's fault. Those are some interesting allegations.
And so we don't agree with those comments, and we sought to seek remedy through the appeal process.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that myself, aren't you?
So you're currently appealing the decision?
We had an appeal, and the appeal was discontinued. Both parties, by agreement, reached a settlement.
Ooh. Oh. They reached a settlement. So did somebody get paid off so that this would go no further?
Reached a settlement.
Reached a settlement.
Why
and the applicant withdrew their application.
Right. Okay. So I guess that's concerning because I've always had issues regarding the homogenisation of the weather records, and I note recently you've just come out with a latest State of the Climate report where you've said the temperature has risen by 1.5 degrees since 1910.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is good, ladies and gentlemen. Now, like, honestly, how many times do you think they've gone and homogenized, in other words, altered, changed, otherwise fucked with the data? How many times? Have a good guess, you know, because I was surprised myself.
Which data set was that using?
So that was using the data set, the homogenised data set that you're well aware of that.
Yeah, but which one? So you've got, I'm aware of 2, and I found out last time you're now doing decimal point data sets.
I know Dr Stone has been a long-standing interlocutor with on this matter, so I'll ask him to take those questions.
Yeah, thanks. So that's the ACORN set data set?
Yeah, so you've got multiple data sets. You've got version 1, version 2, and then 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4.
Sorry, I shall find the... So it's... I have the number here. It's 2.5.
2.5.
And that was released in August 2024.
So how often... So what was the time difference between 2.4 and 2.5?
So who guessed it? Who guessed that there were that many data sets? Now, if my calculations are correct, that makes 7 data sets. 1, 2, 2.1, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5. Does that add up to 7 or no? Maybe I need another tinny. I can do maths better. Man, seriously, fucking hell. It gets better. It gets better.
5.
1 year.
1 year. So you now do a new data set every year? Is that correct?
Sorry. So what it is, it's the same underlying data. Homogenisation is an analytical technique.
Yep.
And, it seeks to...
Yeah, so I know what homogenisation does. I guess my question is why do you need to do it every year?
Yeah, new data is added in each year.
But isn't that just your raw observation data? When you say new data, is it observation data or is it data that's been homogenised over and above the raw data?
Sorry, say that again.
Is it data that's been homogenised over the raw data? So you've got your raw data set.
You mean the last year's data?
Yes.
It would only be homogenised if there was a discontinuity in the last year's data. So the last year's data would only be homogenised if there was a discontinuity detected in the last year's data. It's a continuous data set going back to 1910. So each time there's an addition made, it actually creates data that can be used to assess prior year's data.
That's right. But in that
it's continually updated.
Sorry?
So it is continually updated.
From observations, or you then get the observations and then update the observations to your
both. So it has
world.
So in a calendar year, it has a year of the most recent observations added to it.
Yep.
And then there's a homogenisation analysis done to look for discontinuities in data. And if there are discontinuities of a sufficient scale that are identified, then data for those particular sites at which there's a discontinuity will be homogenised.
Okay.
Now, is anybody else's fucking head swimming after that pile of horse shit? What the fuck was that? And I mean, how does that even work? Like, I mean, we watched this year's weather and, there was this pattern that happened this year, but it didn't happen, in like 1910 or 1920 or whatever. So, we have to change 1920's data to suit what happened this week. Is that how that fucking works? Like, I don't know. If there's any data Nazis out there who are right into trying to figure this shit out, please, by all means, I'd love somebody out there to go nuts and dive into exactly what the hell that bullshit was that idiot just spewed. And let's get some idea of exactly what is it they're doing to the weather data, to homogenize it, to water it down, to otherwise fuck with said data. This is very concerning stuff, ladies and gentlemen, because this is exactly how you go through an Orwellian style fucking rewriting of the history books and then justify it, with the utter tripe and madness that as we've just witnessed. Excusez-moi, monsieur. So that's all there is for today, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, I'm absolutely amazed. The internet functioned for an hour and 20. I didn't think it was going to happen. Maybe it's because I bagged out the NBN. Oh, fuck, we better get our shit together and actually make sure his podcast works this time. He's ripping into us. No. So it turns out, you want to get the attention of, organizations and governments and otherwise nefarious assholes. Just jump on this podcast and guarantee they'll be fucking all over it. That's amazing. It's fucking amazing how often, I do something on this podcast and those fucking cockheads out there start getting all fired up and wanting to do shit and flying drones and bloody otherwise carrying on like knob jockeys. So look, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'm amazed the NBN actually worked. So we'll see what happens. Will it continue down this road for the rest of the day for us? I don't know. Personally, I think I might just go to bed. I think I'm done. But yeah, look, actually, I might lay another bass track or two down. Actually, I got it all set up, got my sound all set. I was grooving along pretty good. So yeah, I think we might need to do some more of that. So it's amazing when you take away the internet and other things like that. You go, what else can I do? I'm like, wow, shit, I got all this stuff, and books don't require batteries or internet connections. So no worries, sips all round, eh? Oh, thank you, Lisa. I was make it up as I go along. Yeah, I think I need some shutter. I think you're even starting to see it here. It looks pretty bad. I have to adjust that light to come up a little bit more. Hey, see, look, it goes away with the right lighting. So, sips, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for watching. Stay tuned. I'm still making it up as I go along. Something will be transpiring Friday. What it is, I don't even know. So that's how exciting it is. So yeah, you know what to do. You know how this shit works. This is the applaud moment. This is where we get them likes going because, Street. That's about not even. I don't think I can even say 5% of the people there have given us some sort of a like by the numbers that I'm seeing here. Mind you, the Rumble ones probably don't come up and things like that, and BitChute and. I don't know how well X functions here. So, look, do your best to try and get them numbers up, support the channel any way, shape, or form you can. Big thanks to all those Patreon people out there who, chuck in a couple of bucks. And, of course, our anonymous donors and other big financial donors who like to chuck in a couple of bucks to make sure I can afford to pay all these bills because running this shit is not cheap. You can check out our Patreon there. It's also linked in the description. You can also just email me if you want a link to these sorts of things to help out, or hey, you just want a link to an article or something, whatever, or you want some of those fluoride letters so you can go stick one up the council yourself and start getting into them. It's the more people get on board giving these people a hard time, better off we're going to be. And that's why we do these things. It's particularly like shit like on Friday, and when we get the Know Your Rights guys in, is to educate you people, not just so you can sit back and be entertained, but so you can actually take that knowledge and do something with it. So this is about empowerment. It always made me wonder, like how many people just sit there and watch the news and go, oh yep, look, they did a news story on it, these guys are onto it. No, they're not. They've just made you aware of it, just like I've made you aware of it. Now you've got to actually do something. What that something is dependent upon your amazing, unique talents, ones you may not even know you have just yet. Sometimes you just got to get inspired and fucking give it a go. Because I'm the guy who couldn't read in grade 3, and now I'm going through legal jargon. So go and figure, And just like, I've said it before and I'll say it again, just like my bass player once upon a time said, while I was giving them all a big drilling on how much they do fuck all to help the band, but you've got such a unique skill set. What do you think? I was born with this shit? Do you think I knew how to learn? I popped straight out, into the world, and I knew how to use Photoshop, After Effects, do all that sort of stuff. I learned how to, set up gigs and organize everything. I became the manager, the audio engineer, bloody graphic designer. Sure, they didn't have to take my own photos for a little while there. Set up video cameras and then go and play. And, how much is one bloke supposed to do? Come on. If I can get all this shit going, what's your excuse? I'm just the average Joe. There's nothing special about me. And everybody's capable of this sort of shit, And I know a lot of people out there are like, fucking, we're waiting on the second coming of Christ. 2,000 years, people are still fucking waiting. I thought the whole idea of what Jesus was trying to get across was, you can do this shit too. We're all born in the same fucking flesh. For Christ's sake, do something. All right, that's enough ranting and raving. Get on to cafelockout.com, keep supporting all the culture artists. You'll be able to see more from them this evening, I believe. And once I get my shit together, I'll be in there spruiking my own works. www.clo.social. Come on, that's where things are going to end up eventually as time rolls on. You know, what I know. It's just in its building blocks, and things aren't as smooth as we'd quite like yet. But, you know, once it's running, it's going to be sweet. So now's the time to get in there and start, you know, building up your profiles and working things as it goes and start to interact with people. Because, you know, haven't you had enough of Zuckerberg's bullshit yet? Do you trust Elon? You know, or do you trust us? We Cafe Locked Out mob are building this shit. So, you know, another, you know, putting our money where our mouth is, putting our time and our effort into it. So we'd really appreciate people jumping over there and giving us some support, you know, like all the time and effort that's going into it. You know, we need that people power to help us out, eh? So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, oh, yeah, don't forget Telegram. That's where I post lots of things that are relevant, PDFs and whatnot, books and all that other shit. So, oh, fuck me. Oh. Sips. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. And don't forget to keep that freedom flowing.